My name is Riley Bennett. I am 31 years old. I build things with my hands. My mother called me on a Monday, 6 days before Christmas. She didn't call to ask what I wanted under the tree. She didn't call to see if I was bringing my famous cinnamon rolls to the family dinner. She called to tell me I wasn't invited anymore. I was standing in my workshop behind my house in Cedar Falls. I had sawdust in my hair. I was sanding the arm of a rocking chair I had been building for 3 weeks. It was supposed to be a gift for my dad. White oak. Hand-carved spindles. I had spent 40 hours on it. My phone buzzed on the workbench. I saw Mom on the screen and I smiled. I actually smiled. That's the part that hurts the most when I think about it now. "Hey, Mom," I said. "I'm almost done with Dad's chair. You think he'll like it?" There was a pause. Then she said, "Riley, we need to talk about Christmas." Her voice was flat. It was the voice she used when she returned things at department stores. Cold and transactional. She told me my younger sister Brooke was bringing her new boyfriend to Christmas dinner. His name was Nathan. He was a partner at an architecture firm in Chicago. His family owned property in Lake Forest. They were cultured people. Brooke wanted the dinner to be sophisticated. She wanted Nathan to see that our family had class. And I said, "Great, I can't wait to meet him." "That's the problem," my mother said. "Riley, you know how you are. You show up with wood shavings on your clothes. Your hands look like you've been digging ditches. Last time you came to dinner, you had a bandage on your thumb, and you talked about joinery techniques for 20 minutes. Nobody knew what you were saying." I looked down at my hands. There was a fresh cut on my index finger, a splinter mark on my palm, calluses everywhere. "We just think," Mom continued, "it would be better if you sat this one out. Just this year. Brooke is very serious about Nathan. We don't want anything to ruin the impression." I stood in my workshop surrounded by the things I had made. A dining table, a set of bookshelves, the rocking chair for a father who didn't want me at his table. I didn't say anything for a long time. "Riley," Mom said, "don't make this difficult." "I'm not making anything difficult," I said. My voice was quiet. I hung up. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I would spend Christmas alone in my workshop, maybe build something, maybe just sit in the silence. But 3 days later, my family showed up at my door at 7 in the morning, and the man they brought with them said something that changed everything. But before I get to that, let me tell you who I am. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Now let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in Cedar Falls. It's a small city in Iowa where people know your name and your business. My parents moved there when I was 4 because they liked the idea of a quaint life, but they never really became quaint people. They cared about appearances. They cared about what the neighbors said at church. They cared about the right clothes and the right schools and the right careers. My sister Brooke was born 2 years after me. She came out perfect. She had big brown eyes and a laugh that made people lean in. By the time she was 5, she was doing pageants. My mother spent weekends driving her to competitions in Des Moines and Omaha. Brooke won trophies. She won sashes. She won my parents' complete and total attention. I was the other one. The quiet girl with the messy ponytail who liked to sit in the garage and watch my grandfather work. My grandfather was a woodworker. He had a shop behind his house with tools that were older than my parents. He smelled like cedar and linseed oil. When I was 7, he put a block of pine in my hands and taught me to carve. I made a duck. It was ugly. It had one wing bigger than the other. But when I held it, I felt something I had never felt before. I felt capable. I felt like I had a superpower. My grandfather died when I was 12. He left me his tools. Every chisel, every hand plane, every clamp. My mother wanted to sell them. She said they were taking up space in the garage. She said the garage smelled like an old man's shed. I cried for 3 days straight until she gave up. By high school, the pattern was set. Brooke was the star. She was homecoming queen. She got a car for her 16th birthday, a white Jetta with a bow on it. My parents threw her a party with a DJ. When I turned 16, I got a gift card to Target. $50. My mom said she didn't know what I liked. I used it to buy sandpaper and wood glue. I didn't go to college. I couldn't afford it, and my parents made it clear the college fund was for Brooke. She went to the University of Iowa to study marketing. They paid for everything. Tuition, sorority dues, a new laptop every year. They told everyone at church how proud they were. I apprenticed with a furniture maker named Walt Olson. He had a shop on the edge of town. He was a gruff old man who didn't talk much, but he could turn a piece of walnut into something that looked like it belonged in a museum. He taught me everything: joinery, finishing, how to read the grain of the wood, how to listen to the material instead of fighting it. After 3 years, he told me I was the best student he ever had. He said I had my grandfather's hands. I opened my own workshop when I was 25. It wasn't fancy. It was a converted garage behind a small house I rented. I built custom furniture: tables, chairs, cabinets, bed frames. I did everything by hand. No factory shortcuts. People started finding me through word of mouth. A couple in Waterloo ordered a dining set. A restaurant in Iowa City wanted custom bar tops. I was making a living. Not a big living, but an honest one. My parents never visited my workshop. Not once. When people asked what Riley was doing, my mother would wave her hand and say, "Oh, she does crafts. Little woodworking projects. She can't sit still. Crafts." She called it crafts. I remember the moment I understood exactly where I ranked. It was Thanksgiving, 2 years ago. I had driven 2 hours to my parents' house. I brought a coffee table I had built for them. Solid cherry wood with hand-cut dovetail joints. It took me 6 weeks. I was so proud of it. I carried it through the front door. My dad was watching football. My mom was in the kitchen. Brooke was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. I set it down in the living room. "Look," I said. "I made this for you guys. Feel the grain." My mother came in, looked at it, and said, "Oh, that's nice, honey. But it doesn't really match the room. Can you put it in the basement?" The basement. She wanted to put 6 weeks of my life in the basement next to the broken exercise bike and the Christmas decorations. I put it in the basement. I didn't say a word. I helped cook dinner, washed the dishes, fixed the garbage disposal that had been broken for 3 months, and drove home in the dark. They called me when things broke. Always. The porch railing was loose. The bathroom cabinet door fell off the hinge. The deck was rotting. Brooke's bookshelf collapsed because she had bought the cheapest particle board from a catalog. I fixed it all. I drove up on weekends with my tools and spent hours working while they went shopping or sat inside watching TV. I never got paid. I never got thanked. I was just expected to show up and fix things because that's what Riley does. 2 years ago, my mother wanted the kitchen remodeled. New cabinets, new countertops, a kitchen island. She got quotes from contractors. The cheapest was $12,000. She called me in a panic. "Riley," she said, "you can do cabinets, right? You can build us new ones?" I could. I did. I spent 4 weekends driving up to their house. I built 14 custom cabinets from maple. I installed them myself. I built the island. I even made a cutting board that fit perfectly into the countertop. The materials alone cost me $3,000. I paid for them. My parents said they would reimburse me. They never did. When I brought it up at Easter, my dad got annoyed. "Come on, Riley," he said. "It's family. You can't put a price on family." They could put a price on Brooke, though. They had just paid for her vacation to Cancun. They paid off her credit card twice. They co-signed her lease on a downtown apartment she couldn't afford on her marketing salary. But my $3,000 for cabinets I built with my own hands was too much to ask back. I stopped asking. I just kept building. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself the work was enough. Then came this Christmas. The phone call. The uninvitation. After I hung up, I stood in my workshop for a long time. I looked at the rocking chair. 40 hours of work for a man who didn't want me at his table. I ran my hand along the armrest. It was smooth as glass. Perfect. I put a sheet over it and I walked inside. I didn't cry. I thought I would, but the tears didn't come. Instead, I felt something click inside my chest, like a lock turning shut. I turned off my phone. I went to bed. I told myself I would have a quiet Christmas, just me and my dog and maybe a pot of soup. That would be enough. I was wrong. 3 days later, I was on my porch with a cup of coffee at 6:30 in the morning. The air was freezing. Snow from the night before sat on everything like white velvet. My dog, a big mutt named Timber, was lying at my feet. Then I heard tires on ice. My dad's Tahoe came sliding around the corner too fast. Behind it, Brooke's little BMW. They pulled into my driveway. Doors flew open. My mother got out in a fur-collared coat and boots that were not made for Iowa winters. My dad looked like he hadn't slept. Brooke looked furious. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was perfect. Her anger was perfect. And then a man got out of Brooke's passenger seat. He was tall, maybe 6'2", dark hair. He wore a pea coat and good boots. He looked calm. He looked like the only person in the group who wasn't about to explode. Nathan, the architect. The reason I was erased. They marched up my walkway. Timber stood up and growled softly. I put my hand on his head. Paige told Aunt Linda. My mother screamed before she even reached the porch. She was breathless. She was vibrating with rage. Aunt Linda told your cousin Marcus. Marcus told Grandma June. Grandma June called us this morning and said, if Riley isn't at Christmas dinner, she's not coming either, and she's cutting us out of the will. I stared at them. I didn't tell anyone, I said. I didn't talk to Aunt Linda. I didn't talk to anyone. Somebody told her, Dad shouted. Grandma is worth $600,000, Riley. $600,000. Do you understand what's at stake? I understand that you uninvited your daughter from Christmas and now you're worried about money, I said. Don't twist this around, Brooke snapped. She pointed a manicured finger at me. This is your fault. You always do this. You always play the victim. I took a sip of my coffee. I didn't play anything, I said. You cut me out. I went to sleep. I didn't call anyone. My mother wasn't listening. While we're here, she said, the kitchen faucet is leaking. Water is dripping onto the new cabinets. The ones you built. She looked at me expectantly. Like I was supposed to jump in my truck and go fix it. Like being uninvited from Christmas and being asked to do free plumbing in the same conversation was perfectly normal. And Brooke needs money, Dad added. He lowered his voice like it was a secret, even though everyone on the porch could hear. The caterer for the dinner wants payment up front. She's short $800. Brooke looked at me with dead eyes. She held out her hand. She didn't even ask. She just held out her hand. I looked at them. I looked at my parents who were sweating about Grandma's money. I looked at my sister who wanted $800 and hadn't spoken to me in 2 months. None of them looked at me. They looked through me. I was a tool, an ATM, a service they had forgotten to cancel. Then I looked at Nathan. He was standing at the back of the group, leaning against the porch post. He hadn't said a word. He was watching everything with sharp, attentive eyes. The kind of eyes that measure things. Architect's eyes. He was looking past me, through the open door of my workshop. The lights were on inside. The rocking chair was visible, still uncovered from where I had pulled the sheet off that morning to look at it one more time. Nathan pushed off the post. He took 2 steps toward the workshop door. He stopped. Excuse me, he said. His voice was quiet, but it cut through the noise like a blade. Everyone stopped talking. Nathan pointed at the rocking chair. Who made that? He asked. Nobody answered. He looked at me. Did you make that? Yes, I said. Nathan walked into my workshop without asking. Normally, I would have stopped him. That space is mine. But something about the way he moved, careful, respectful, made me let him go. He crouched next to the rocking chair. He ran his hand along the back spindles. He looked at the joints. He tilted it to see the underside. He stood up and looked at the workbench. He saw the hand planes, the chisels, the pieces of a cabinet door I was working on. He picked up a dovetail joint I had cut as a practice piece. He turned it over in his hands. His face changed. It went from curiosity to something else. Recognition. Respect. He walked back to the porch. He looked at Brooke. You told me your sister made birdhouses, Nathan said. Brooke went pale. She does, she stammered. She does little projects. Nathan held up the dovetail joint. This is a hand-cut dovetail, he said. Do you know what this is? I work with custom fabricators every day. I design buildings. I specify millwork for clients who pay $50,000 for a kitchen. This joint is as clean as anything I've seen from shops that charge $300 an hour. He looked at me. You're Riley Bennett, he said. Yes, I said. The Riley Bennett who built the reading room installation at the Cedar Falls Library. My stomach tightened. That was me, I said. I've seen photos of that piece, Nathan said. My firm circulated them in our design meeting. We were trying to find the maker. The way you integrated the shelving into the wall structure, it was seamless. My senior partner called it the best adaptive woodwork he'd seen in the Midwest. The porch was silent. My parents looked confused. Brooke looked like she had been slapped. You told me she was unemployed, Nathan said to Brooke. He wasn't yelling. His voice was steady, and that made it worse. You said she puttered around in a garage and couldn't hold a real job. She doesn't have a real job, Brooke said. Her voice was high and thin. She makes furniture, Nathan. It's not a career, it's a hobby. Nathan looked back at my workshop. He looked at the stacks of cured lumber. The industrial dust collection system. The client's sketches pinned to the wall. This isn't a hobby, Nathan said. This is a studio. He turned to me. How many commissions do you have right now? 7, I said. Nathan nodded. He looked at Brooke. And you uninvited her from Christmas because she would embarrass you. It wasn't like that. My mother jumped in. She was frantic. We just wanted the dinner to feel a certain way. Riley doesn't have the right clothes, and she always has sawdust everywhere, and she talks about wood all the time. It's boring for other people. My father makes furniture, Nathan said. He builds boats in his garage on weekends. He's been doing it for 30 years. If someone told him he wasn't welcome at a family dinner because his hands were rough, he would never speak to that person again. My mother opened her mouth and closed it. I watched the power shift happen in real time. For 31 years, my family had decided what I was worth. And in 90 seconds, this stranger had rearranged the equation. But the moment didn't fix anything. It just cracked the surface. The real break came later. My father tried to regain control. He stepped forward, puffing his chest. All right, enough, he said. This is a family matter, Nathan. We appreciate your opinion, but Riley knows her responsibilities. We need the faucet fixed, and we need the money situation handled. Riley, get your tools. No, I said. The word landed like a hammer on the frozen porch. What did you say? Dad whispered. I said no. I'm not fixing your faucet. I'm not giving Brooke money. And I'm not calling Grandma to lie for you. You have to, Brooke yelled. If Grandma doesn't come, she won't give me the Christmas check. I need that money. I have credit card bills. That's not my problem, I said. My dad stepped closer. He was big. He used his size when he was angry. You are the most ungrateful child, he said. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me, I repeated. I felt something cold and steady rise in my chest. It was the feeling I got when I was about to make a precise cut. Calm. Focused. Wait here, I said. I walked inside. I went to my desk in the corner of the workshop. I opened the bottom drawer. Inside was a folder. Green. Thick. I had been adding to it for years. I didn't know why I kept it. Maybe part of me always knew this day was coming. I walked back to the porch. I opened the folder. You say I'm ungrateful, I said. You say I owe you. Let me show you the math. I pulled out the first page. Kitchen remodel, I said. 14 custom maple cabinets, 1 island, 1 built-in cutting board. Materials cost $3,100. Labor at market rate, $200 an hour for 80 hours. That's $16,000. Total, $19,100. You paid me 0. I let the paper fall. I pulled another page. Deck rebuild, August 2 years ago. Materials, $1,800. Labor, 40 hours. You paid me 0. You bought Brooke a plane ticket to Miami that same week. Drop. Porch railing. Bathroom vanity. Custom closet organizers for Brooke's old bedroom that Mom turned into a craft room. Garage shelving. 3 separate furniture repairs for Brooke's apartments. The cabinet door that fell on Dad's head because he tried to fix it himself and stripped every screw. Page after page. Receipt after receipt. They fell onto the frozen porch like leaves. My parents stood there shrinking. In 9 years, I said, I have done $47,000 worth of work for this family, for free. I have also loaned Dad $4,000 for his car repair that was never repaid. I have given Brooke $2,000 in cash over the years when she said she couldn't make rent. I closed the folder. $53,000, I said. That is what this family owes me. So when you tell me I'm ungrateful, when you tell me I owe you, I need you to understand that the math doesn't agree. My mother was crying. Real tears. Not her usual performance tears. The ugly kind. The kind that come when the mask falls off and you can see the face underneath. My father stared at the pile of papers on the porch floor. His face was gray. He couldn't look at me. Brooke was shaking. She looked at Nathan. She reached for his arm. Nathan, baby, she whispered. Don't listen to her. She's making it sound worse than it is. We're a normal family. Every family has stuff like this. Nathan stepped away from her hand. No, he said. Not every family does this. My family has arguments. We disagree, but we don't hide each other. We don't erase people because they work with their hands. He looked at me. Riley, I'm sorry. If I had known they used me as the reason to exclude you, I would never have agreed to come. Brooke let out a sound like a wounded animal. Logan, you can't be serious. I did this for you. I wanted you to see the best version of us. This is the best version of you? Nathan asked. He gestured at the papers on the ground. Lying about your sister? Taking her money? Hiding her like she's something to be ashamed of? Brooke couldn't answer. My father made one last attempt. He straightened his back. Fine, he said. Keep your receipts. Keep your self-righteousness. But remember who raised you. Remember who put food on the table when you were a child. I looked him in the eyes. I remember, I said. I also remember that Grandpa is the one who taught me everything I know. Grandpa is the one who gave me his tools. Grandpa is the one who told me I could build anything. You told me I should learn to type. My father flinched. Leave, I said. I didn't shout. I was surprised by how calm I was. Get off my porch. Go home. Fix your own faucet. Pay your own caterer. And don't call me unless you're ready to talk to me like a person and not a handyman. You can't do this, Mom sobbed. It's Christmas. I know what day it is, I said. I'm going to spend it with people who don't make me feel like I need to apologize for existing. Brooke looked at Nathan one more time. Are you coming? No, Nathan said. I'll find my own way back. Brooke's face crumbled. She turned and ran to her car. My parents followed. The Tahoe backed out first, skidding on the ice. The BMW followed. They disappeared around the corner. The street was quiet. Snow fell softly. Timber pressed against my leg. Nathan stood on the porch with his hands in his pockets. He looked at the workshop. That rocking chair, he said. Who's it for? I looked at the workshop door. It was for my dad, I said. There was a silence. It's a beautiful piece, Nathan said. Whoever sits in it will be lucky. I didn't say anything. I just stood there holding my coffee and watching the snow fill in the tire tracks in my driveway, covering every trace that they had been there. You need a ride somewhere? I asked him. Eventually, he said. But if you have an extra cup of coffee, I wouldn't mind sitting in that workshop for a while. I haven't seen hand-cut joinery like that in person in years. I looked at him. He wasn't offering me pity. He wasn't trying to save me. He was asking to see my work. He was asking to sit in my space and treat it with respect. Come on, I said. I'll show you the library piece sketches too. We walked into the workshop. I turned on the space heater. I poured him coffee in a mug that said Cedar Falls Woodworkers Guild. He sat on a stool and I showed him the drawings. We talked for 2 hours about grain patterns and structural loads and the way walnut darkens with age. It was the best morning I'd had in years. That was December. By February, the silence from my family was total. They didn't call. I didn't call. For the first time, the absence didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a cleared workspace. Clean. Ready for something new. I poured myself into my work. Nathan had connected me with his firm. They needed custom millwork for a boutique hotel project in Dubuque. It was the biggest commission of my career. I spent 10 weeks building reception desks, headboards, and a feature wall made from reclaimed barnwood. When it was done, a design magazine wanted to photograph it. They ran a 4-page spread. They called me one of the Midwest's most exciting emerging craftspeople. I pinned the article to my workshop wall next to my grandfather's old photograph. Nathan became a friend. Not a boyfriend. Not a savior. Just a person who saw me clearly and liked what he saw. He came to Cedar Falls on some weekends. He helped me set up a proper website. He brought his father once, a silver-haired man in work boots, who spent 3 hours in my shop talking about boat hulls and hand planing. His father shook my hand when he left and said, "Your grandfather would be proud." I cried that night. Good tears. By summer, I had a waiting list. I hired an apprentice, a 19-year-old girl named Josie who reminded me of myself. Quiet. Strong hands. Didn't know yet that she was talented. I gave her a block of pine on her first day and told her to carve something. She made a cat. It was ugly. One ear was bigger than the other. It was perfect. My parents tried to reach me once in August. My dad's truck broke down. He left a voicemail asking if I knew a good mechanic. He didn't ask how I was. He didn't say he missed me. He just needed a service. I didn't call back. I heard through my cousin Marcus that they were struggling. They had refinanced the house. Grandma June had redirected her annual gifts to a woodworking scholarship at the community college. I didn't know how to feel about that. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just felt far away from it, like watching weather in a town you used to live in. It is Christmas again. 1 full year since the porch. I am standing outside my workshop. Snow is falling. The air smells like pine and cold metal. But my workshop doesn't look like a workshop tonight. I strung lights along the rafters. I set up a long table made from a single slab of ash that took me 2 months to finish. There are 16 chairs around it, every one of them different. I built each chair for a specific person. Mrs. Kowalski from next door is here with her potato casserole. Walt Olson, my old mentor, is sitting in the corner telling Josie about the time he built a canoe out of a single cedar log. The Nguyen family from down the block brought spring rolls, and their 3 kids are running between the tool cabinets playing tag. Nathan is here with his parents. His father is arguing with Walt about the best finish for outdoor furniture. His mother is laughing at something Mrs. Kowalski said. Through the window, I can see the rocking chair. I never gave it to my father. It sits in the corner of my workshop, by the wood stove. I sit in it sometimes when I need to think. It is the most comfortable chair I have ever built. I built it with love for a man who didn't want it. But the love didn't go to waste. It's in the wood. I can feel it when I sit down. I look at the table. Every seat is full. These people didn't come because they needed something fixed. They came because they wanted to be here. Nathan catches my eye through the window. He raises his glass of cider. I raise mine back. I look at my hands. They are rough. There is a callus on my right thumb that will never go away. There is a faint stain of walnut oil in the lines of my palms that no soap can reach. These hands are not elegant. They are not manicured. They will never be on the cover of a fashion magazine. But they built this table. They built these chairs. They built this life. I push open the door. The warmth hits me. The noise hits me. Laughter and arguments about wood finishes and kids shrieking and the clatter of dishes. Riley, Josie calls out. Mr. Olson says dovetails are better than mortise and tenon. Tell him he's wrong. They're both good, I say. It depends on the piece. Walt shakes his head. She always says that, he mutters. But he's smiling. I sit down at my table. My table, in my home, surrounded by my people. I didn't lose a family last Christmas. I lost a weight I had been carrying for 31 years. And in the space it left behind, I built something better. A message from Riley. If you're listening to this, thank you. I know this story isn't easy. Some of you know exactly what it feels like to be the fixer, the one they call when something breaks but never invite when something is celebrated, the one whose hands are good enough to work but never good enough to hold at the dinner table. If that's you, I need you to hear this. You are not a tool. You are not a service. You are a person. And you are allowed to build a table where you are the guest, not the carpenter. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to set the boundary. You are allowed to choose who sits in the chairs you build. Tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from? Have you ever had to walk away from the people who were supposed to love you? I want to hear your story. And if you ever feel alone, remember, there is a workshop somewhere with a warm light on and a chair with your name on it. You just have to find your people.